Hey guys, so I finally got around to it and I filmed this video totally unplanned. I was just sitting down, I was gonna do my makeup on Snapchat, and I was just like, wow, I finally have the time. I should finally film the everyday makeup tutorial video. And yeah, it's just really simple, really focused on the highlight parts and a nice bronze. And before we get into the video, I'd just like to say thank you guys so much for being so supportive and DMing me questions and about advice or products. And it honestly feels so bomb when I see you guys screenshotting everything I say on Snapchat. And honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. And I really hope that you guys enjoy the video. And yeah, thank you. Bye. Hey guys, so I finally have it up and I finally got it edited and down to like a decent amount of time. So I'm just gonna jump right in because I did speed it up quite a bit. So I was just showing you guys how before I was really into MAC Plus, Fix Plus. It has this really nice tacky feeling. I call it the glue for my foundation. It just really sets everything. But lately I've been using the SMASHBOX primer water and that just has been great. Like, I'm obsessed with it. So right here, I'm just applying my Cover FX color corrector. It's in the shade orange. I know that they have a brick one, but that's for more deeper skin tones. Also, like if you have really bad acne scarring and it's really dark, or you have hyperpigmentation on your skin, then you would definitely want orange or the brick, depending how dark it is. This just worked wonders for me under my eyes. It's really dark, rusty color and the corners of my mouth and also my chin. So it causes my foundation to have like an grayish soot type of like um, look to it, and I really don't like that. So I want everything to be warm and vibrant, and this just really helps. And the best thing about this for me is that it just lays and sinks into your skin. It doesn't really mix in with your foundation or makes anything cakey or feel like you're layering stuff. Now, into my foundation, you guys already know this is my favorite foundation of all time. It's a Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and I'm actually using the color Stand. And it's a little bit light for me, but only because it has neutral undertones, which means that it has yellow and pink. And I'm more of a yellow and olive toned person, especially with the green undertones in my skin. So it just seems a tad bit like masky on me, but it definitely works once I start contouring and bronzing and all that deal. But more about the foundation. A few things that I love about it is that it doesn't feel like anything on the face. It's super hydrating. Of course, I'm normal, rarely combo. I would just say normal skin type. So I really don't have any trouble when it comes to dryness or oiliness. But I've had some issues where foundations do cause me to be extremely oily in my T-zone, and this just does not do that to me. Do you ever have that feeling of when you come like home from school and you're like, I need to get this beat off of my face? I never ever have that feeling with this foundation. I'm just obsessed. I just wish the range of shades was more wide to olive and type of peach olive undertones with not looking too orange. So you see right here I'm blending on my neck just because I know that it's a little bit too light for me, and I definitely, y'all, I see y'all at school. Come on, like no one wants mask face. Like this is just like the best tip on your ears, behind your ears, if you really want that seamless This Is My Skin foundation look. Now moving on into contour, I'm actually using the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Toast. And I just love this thing. I actually prefer it more than my ABH contour cream kit, just because with the ABH contour kit, I find myself always putting jojoba oil in it just because it's really hard to blend and it tugs at the skin. It just, you need a lot of time to blend, and this one, just perfect. I use my Real Technique sponge and it blends like a dream. More about contouring. So with contouring, there's a slight difference between bronzing and contouring, and I feel like people mix both of them together. It's really simple. With contouring, you're really trying to find a shade that can be a shadow for your skin. So you're looking for cool tone shades. And I know that's a really hard thing to understand if you're not really into makeup, warm tones, cool tone, neutral tones, all of that. But it's basically like a grayish, and if you're have pink undertones, like a pink gray undertone type of color, obviously darker than you. And as you can see with my sunken in cheekbones, you can kind of see that grayish shadow, which this brown causes, also being like acting as a bit of a bronzer, but not really, just because it is on the cool tone side. So that would be the biggest difference, because bronzers are more on the red, orange, yellow based formulas. So I would definitely watch out if you're using a contour shade that is way too orange and warm for you, because you're just going to end up with an extremely orangey face, especially if you're fair. Please, a lot of fair girls, I see them, and it's like orange on their cheeks. It's not cute. You should definitely find yourself a nice shade like Mink from the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation sticks. That would be a bomb color for fair girls. So you see I'm just blending it out with my Real Technique sponge, and you just see how it's blending in, just like a dream. It looks like my skin. It's really luminous and nice, and those are some of the properties of my foundation. It's very hydrating. So it has like, it's like a demi or semi matte, so it really has that shine, but it also gives you a matte feel. And of course, throughout this whole process, you want everything to dry down before you go to the next step. Primer, dry. Foundation, dry. Contour, dry. I know it's a little tricky because you just see me doing it right after another. But yeah, you definitely want to wait for everything to dry before you do the next step. Also, a great tip would be, if you really don't know where your cheekbones are at or a good place to contour, you really should try to go from the tip top of your ear and go down your cheekbones. If you have sunken in cheekbones like I do, so it's a perfect guideline, I wouldn't suggest to go right on the sunken part. I would say just to go above, so the product won't seep in and lay there, and then when you come back, it's really hard to blend and harsh, but only because like the part is sunken in. It's just not cute, so definitely would recommend going a little above. Now for this concealer, this is my favorite part. I know some people are with this trend of first conceal, then highlight, but I just go straight into highlight. And the concealer I'm using is actually Too Faced the Born This Way concealer in the shade medium. And I just find the shade really nice and yellow for my skin. It doesn't give me like a grayish vibe like any other concealer usually does. But more about the concealer again, it's just like the foundation, super lightweight, medium to full coverage. It's definitely buildable. It just feels so soft on the skin. You don't feel like anything's on there. You don't feel like you're layering. You don't feel like it's thick. I used to have the NARS concealer, and I was in shade Ginger, by the way, if you're watching me as a color reference. And it was amazing. I love the color. It was super nice and creamy, but it was extremely thick. And it also is full coverage. So if you're into that and you're really looking for something more on the thick side than more on the natural medium to sheer side, you should definitely look into the NARS one. So I'm creating that triangle that you see all the time under my eyes, and I'm really just trying not to actually put it up to my temples and my hairline, only because I do have a round face and it's a little flat, and I don't want to make it even more round or flat by actually pulling my face out to my hairline. So another great tip would be after you do your concealer, immediately after, set it. Set it so it doesn't crease. There's no time for it to crease. It's not sitting around. That's why I do one eye at a time. So definitely do a patting motion. And I'm actually using a Morphe brush. I'm using the M438. I'm sorry. I have like notes on the side. And I just love this brush. It really gets in there in the inner corner and the nose. It's really dense and nice and layered. Definitely doesn't budge around the concealer. Just bomb. I would definitely recommend this brush. Morphe brushes are super affordable. If you're looking into buying new brushes, definitely Morphe. And here I'm just blending my other eye, and as you can see, I'm going to go in with my translucent powder. I'm actually using the Mercier. And I'm just going to go in with my brush, and I would like you guys to really focus on the technique that I'm using. I'm using a patting motion to set things how I laid them down. As I blended my concealer, I really just want to lay it down, like paste it down with the translucent powder. I don't want to move it. And when you swipe with your brush, that causes streaks, that causes you to move it, move the product, because you're not waiting for it to dry. And if you wait for it to dry, that's prone to creasing and just not what you want. So I'm just patting everywhere that I highlighted. I'm going to go ahead and make a circle shape on my forehead just because it's more flattering for my flat forehead. I'm just dusting it off, trying not to put translucent powder on my bronzing parts because I don't want it to look dull. I want it to look really vibrant and bronzed. So I'm going in with my bronzer from Too Faced, and this is the Chocolate Soleil Matte Bronzer, and it's actually the color Deep to Tan. And I chose this shade because I just love orangey based bronzers. You do have to be careful because if you get too crazy, girl, like you're straight up gonna look like an Oompa Loompa. But I live for that bronze, that sun-kissed summer orangey vibe. Live for it. So I'm just going in, and this brush is perfect for bronzing. Just use it for powder. Don't do that. Bad idea. It was really blotchy. It's just not the shape for it, but perfect shape to sink into your cheekbones. This is actually the Morphe M527 and changed my life. Really nice shape, round enough in top to really blend and give you no harsh lines. So as you can see here, surprisingly, I'm not going in with my ABH highlighter shade in Banana. I'm actually using Bare Minerals Bare Pro Champagne 03 is the shade. And I'm going in with my Real Technique sponge. It's still damp, by the way. That way, since I'm layering on top of the concealer and the translucent powder, it doesn't cake on. It's more like marinating it together, not really layering it on top. And that just forms a beautiful highlight, as you can see. I just love this shade more than I did the Banana one. It's just perfect. It's not gray pastel beige like the other one was. So now I'm using ABH Powder Contour Palette in medium to tan. And this changed my life. I used to use medium to light, the light to medium, I'm sorry. And that was just way too cool tone for me. The shades were way too pink tone. And like I said, I like warm, rich tones. And here I actually use the shades Nutmeg, Espresso, and Havana. And they go from really orangey to rich chocolate, earthy tones to the pink Havana, which just really sets it all off and doesn't make me look too orangey. And I'm just pressing it on my nose a little bit just to give me that lift. And this brush that I used actually was the M523. And I already talked about that brush on my Snapchat. I really don't want to get in depth of the brushes, really. I just want to get through with the tutorial because I already did talk to most of you guys about the brushes. But right here I'm just applying blush, just any regular blush. I'm really into terracotta pink blushes, and this brush is actually the E4. It's a Morphe brush. And the blush that I'm using is a MAC blush. It's in Cheek Pollen. It was part of Fairy Whispers collection, so probably it's not on stock anymore, and I'm sorry about that. Next time I'll use something that's more available. So here I'm using ColourPop's highlighter, and it's in the shade Spoon. And I'm going ahead and using my finger just because I feel like the product, since it is creamy, it melts more into the skin once I warm it up with my fingers. You should always find that with creams. They really warm up to the skin and find them easier to apply if you do use them with your fingers rather than a brush. And here, obviously, I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in That Glow, and I'm using the shade Sunburst from the palette. And I like to be careful using really light shades, only because it could look ashy. And this is the Morphe brush M501. I have that shit memorized. So many people ask me. I am always recommending it. You really want to avoid the zebra highlight. Me and my friends, like, no, you just can't handle that. Like, zebra highlight is awful. It happens when you're using a really dense brush that is in layers. So every time you're putting it on and applying it, you're not blending. while you are. As you can see, I'm doing windshield wiper motions and also circular motions. And I'm lightly putting that on my chin and my forehead just to really elevate the look and really give me that strobe. Moving on, I didn't really want to film myself doing my eyebrows. I will put in the description box below what I do use on my eyebrows, but my focus isn't really on eyebrows. It's more on the bronze and the highlight. And here I'm just using my concealer once again, and once I carved out my eyebrows, I'm just blending it all out in my eye to act as a primer and an eyeshadow. And I'm just going to lock that in with the Maybelline Shine Free Loose Powder in the shade Light 01. And this just is so bomb if you put it all over your face. Patting motion, of course, gives you a flawless finish. But, girl, it will give you flashback for days. So be careful. So here, I'm just going to put some very, very light eyeshadow in the crease. This is actually my bronzer. I'm using the M441 blending brush by Morphe. And this brush really does the work for you. All you have to do is use a light hand, make sure the hand is at the end of the brush, and it just gives you a seamless blend. I just really did it to just connect my eyes with the bronze face. So as you can see, it just really comes in. I did my eyeliner and eyelashes off camera. I just didn't feel like that was really important. I'm just trying to really condense this all into information that I feel like you guys would need. So here I'm just using a Sonia Kashuk brush. It's just a very square defined flat definer brush, but I'm actually using for my under eyes, and I'm going ahead with that same bronzer and only putting it on that small outer circle, just to give more definition, of course. So here again, I'm using my NYX Wonder Pencil, and this is in the shade Medium. I'm obsessed with doing this. It really opens up my eyes. It just gives you this bright, awake look. And here I just finished doing my mascara, and I just wanted to add this in just in case you are doing lashes. It's really important to really mesh them in with your falsies once you do your mascara. That way it gives you this natural finish. And we're about to be done, you guys. It's almost over. So here I'm using MAC Chestnut Liner. I know everyone literally has this liner. It's iconic. If you don't have it, you should get it, especially if you're my skin tone or darker and you're really into nudes. This just really elevates it, makes it more wearable. It's a really rich chocolate. I feel like it has some wine purple undertones, so it really just makes definition in your lips as well. So of course I'm grabbing a MAC lipstick, and this is in the color Yash, and it's a really beigey pink shade, but once I blend it in with MAC Chestnut, it really turns into a soft, almost purple pink shade. I'm obsessed with this combo. Like, I'm obsessed. You really want to make sure you blend out the harsh lines though. You don't want to look too crazy. Not into the Violet Girl look. So here I'm grabbing a Real Techniques Detail Small defining brush. I'm just putting Spoon by ColourPop highlighter in my inner corners just to open everything up. You really want your eyes to pop, to be the center, just because everything is really going to be stroby and bronzed. So just really try to create that nice doe sharp effect. Sorry. And we're done, you guys. Oh my god. Thank you so much for watching. Honestly, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for sticking by me. I love you guys. Bye.